Is John Calipari under more pressure to win Sunday over Rick Pitino in Louisville, or actually win the national title Monday night if the Cats get there?
Well, obviously to get to the national title, he's got to get by Louisville. And I don't think many Kentucky fans thought they'd be facing Louisville. And obviously the pressure's got to be on Kentucky from this standpoint. Expectations have been great from day one. People have anticipated them ultimately being a national champion. And now here it is. The obstacle in their way is a coach that won a national title at Kentucky. I'm telling you right now, that certainly puts some pressure on him, no doubt about it. Hey, I don't want to get those Kentucky fans a little nervous, but the last 4 years, they have ended their season with a loss to a Big East team. And also, I don't want them to get a little nervous. The last time they were in New Orleans was about 2 weeks ago, and they lost here to Vanderbilt. So maybe, I'll tell you what, a little nerve-wracking time. Saying all that, I still think ultimately, Kentucky has too many weapons. John Calipari's done a phenomenal job, and I think they'll have just a little too much for Louisville.
So with all of that intense pressure coming on Saturday night, you're picking Kentucky. Why?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When you talk about Kentucky and talk about Saturday night, the one key, when I look at a key in that game, for Louisville to have a chance, they got to get great play out of Peyton Siva. He has to really distribute the ball effectively. He's got to get them in their offense. They got to make some threes with Kyle Quirk and Russell Smith and Rick Pitino. I'm going to tell you right now, I cannot believe, it really disturbs me that he didn't get selected to the Basketball Hall of Fame. The guy is flat out a Hall of Famer. A very dangerous team. They'll play with a lot of passion. But ultimately, when you look at Kentucky, Anthony Davis, his defensive abilities worth like about 15 points to them before the game starts. The key for that team is the play of Teague. He has to get all their people to really operate effectively offensively. But I think when it's all said and done, they just have too much with Terrence Jones. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is a warrior. He loves the big stage. He plays exceptionally well, and he can play for me any day of the week. I'm going to tell you this. When it's all said and done, Kentucky 74, Louisville 67.
There you go. We're getting down to the score, getting to the nitty-gritty there. I like it. All right, now let's get to the second game, too, because not as many folks talking about it with all the hype on the Bluegrass State Showdown. But which leading man in that second matchup has to play better for his team to win? Because we have Ohio State's Jared Sullinger. We have Kansas's Thomas Robinson. Keeping in mind that Sullinger missed that earlier meeting in the regular season with back problems.
I'll tell you one thing, that sounds like Ali Frazier, Tyson Holyfield. Two heavyweights, Goliaths going at it in the 3-second area where basketball efficiency starts. I think personally that Robinson has to have a big-time game, bigger than Sullinger, and I'm going to tell you why. I think that Jared has a little bit more help offensively with Lenzel Smith and certainly the scoring ability of Deshaun Thomas. And Kraft, we know, is a terrific leader. The bottom line is the key player for Ohio State, if they're going to get to the championship, is William Buford. I think he has to make shots. When you look at Kansas, Taylor and Robinson have to be super, and Jeff Withey has to have his A game. A game, no doubt about it. And a player to keep an eye on, Elijah Johnson, who made the biggest three probably for Kansas this year when it was 68-67 against the Tar Heels. But I would say, Robinson, when it's all said and done, I like the Buckeyes, baby. I like the Buckeyes. The reason I don't think that Jared Sullinger, Kraft, and Buford are going to allow them to get beat. They're playing really great defense now. 77-74. Buckeyes, Kentucky for the national title.
Wow, a 3-point game. Once more, break it down for us, the Buckeyes, and why you think they have what it takes to beat Kansas.
Well, I think when you look at the Buckeyes right now, I think, number one, they've been really playing outstanding basketball in the tournament. You look at Kansas, they've done what it takes. Bill Self was my choice as National Coach of the Year. But if you really want to talk about the theory, survive and advance, I mean, that really applies to Kansas. They survived big time against Purdue. Should have lost that game. Purdue let that game slip away in the last minute. Then they had North Carolina State, and that game was a mail-lock smasher right to the last second. They survived, and they advanced. Then they played North Carolina, and they take advantage of a great opportunity because Kendall Marshall can't play, and they find a way at 68-67 to rip off 12 in a row and march on. They find a way to win. They have a will to win, but I think that comes to an end against this Buckeye team that I think, remember this, preseason, Ohio State was number 3, along with a lot of other teams out there. They were projected to be the 3rd best team in America. They are now playing at that level.
All right, so Dickie V says it'll be Ohio State and Kentucky for the national title. Coming from lovely Jackson Square. Enjoy the Big Easy, as we've enjoyed being with you this morning. Thanks.
Well, thanks a lot. It's great here in the Big Easy. Got the fans out already. I can't wait. It's going to be a great weekend. It is going to be awesome, baby, with a capital A.